1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check. You already know what it is. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check. You already know what it is. Moorish MC. Yeah, yo. All praise due to Allah, no bow ties. On my tracks, rappers get the warp speed blow-bys. Stay in my lane around corners, one man, no eyes, Cyclops Bay. Covenant not new like polites. Running a fraud, you paid 4,300. Lord, this in the legend. Typical coon and reverence. But people support getting played robbed for birthrights. It's not about fiat, your energy quenches their thirst, right? Vampires and warlocks speak with finesse in their speech. Subconscious mind traps won't release, detecting a breach. They dissing their prophet, Drew Ali, they dissing their creed. Before you follow dirty Moors, listen to me. Every Moor is not your bro, most of them sold out. Ask Khalid, Malcolm, Shabazz, and the ones that know about getting stabbed in their back for talking about rights. Minus the civil, notwithstanding, like a cripple. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, the priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you. Middlemen come calling themselves prophets and God sense, claiming they're sovereign, following hillbilly nonsense, saying Moors are wrong, taking things out of context. Stupidity of conscious blacks is an inferior complex, following leaders that won't go with you off the cliff, lying about slavery and even about slave ships, robbing the ignorant, saying papers filed federal, under the jurisdiction of attorney generals, claiming straw men for credit in a debt system. Yes, bonds from the treasury are really from the IMF. I am just saying what I see from the conscious, begging for donations while acting obnoxious, with no solutions. 1,500 for service products that cost 50 cents to print. These black devils are off their rockers. They don't feel awkward giving state ID to coppers. Highwaymen think killing the bay is gonna stop us. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead.
We declare our rights on this earth to be a man, to be a human being, to be respected as a human being, to be given the rights of a human being in this society, on this earth, in this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary.
Black History Month, you find ridiculous.
You're going to relegate my history to a month? Oh, come on. What do you do with yours? Which month is Black History Month? Oh, well, come on.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay. Which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh. Why not? Do you want one?
No.
I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man. Yeah. And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
Peace and love. Islam to all. We're here. Just doing some review. Realizing Somebody sent an email, so I said, we'll put this out again. Behold a Pale Horse, William Cooper. Chapter 15, Protocols of the Wise Men of Zion. Author's note. Author's note. This is the exact reprint of the original text. This has been written intentionally to deceive people. For clear understanding, the word Zion should say Sion. Any reference to Jews should be replaced with the word Illuminati, and the word Goyim should be replaced with the word cattle. And then we'll go deeper and we'll say, instead of cattle, say chattel. Instead of Jews, say elite. Forget Illuminati, because that's a mindset. And the word Zion is a metaphysical word that means spiritual consciousness. So when they're heading to Zion and all that stuff, they're heading towards spiritual consciousness. They're not heading to some place. But because we don't study metaphysics, stuff like that, we don't know about the allegorical lessons. But that's here nor there. Let's just see what they got in this. You see a pattern here. Protocol number 6. Protocol number 6. The aristocracy of the chattel as a political force is dead. We need not take it into account, but as landed proprietors, they can still be harmful to us from the fact that they are self-sufficient in the resources upon which they live. It is essential, therefore, for us at whatever cost to deprive them of their land. Deprive them of their land. How? Use Palestine as an example. Use the North Gate as an example, where in order to get the land, they made you think that other things are the land. You thought NY was the land. You thought BC was the land. You thought all these jurisdictions that were created by the stroke of a pen on paper are land, when those things are only on paper and only exist in name. This object will best be attained by increasing the burden upon landed property, in loading the lands with debts. You know what's going on right now? Are they loading the lands with debt right now? They are exercising their protocols of the wise men of Zion. They're not hiding, because you should have been had behold a pale horse, so you would have been known what was going down. But then when you go try to get behold a pale horse, and they're telling you $500 for the copy and all that stuff, you realize why. Because everything was being revealed. People weren't hiding anything. They had people on their own side who were against the BS that they were trying to do. William Cooper is a European. Why is this European talking about protocols of Zion in his book? And then why don't you know? But if I tell you go TikTok, you know that BS. If I tell you some whack rapper out here, have you dancing like a you don't even know what I want to call you. Dancing. Making videos, you and the whole family dancing like some dumbasses. And you want to know how come the world doesn't respect our people? Because we're incompetent. And then all your so-called leader guys are going to be telling you about some type of program that they got from the European that's going to get you out of your BS. These people have their own people to worry about. While they were busy with their own people, like when they were busy with William Cooper, they couldn't pay attention to you and all the black stuff that you were doing or whatever. When they put focus on him, you had your opportunity. Oh, but you did nothing. You stayed there playing games, shooting at Bibles, talking about you're going to do something. You already know these people did whatever they did. Now, these people did whatever they did to be in the position where they're at right now, where we're going to say, now we're going to get some arms and go do something to somebody. And then have the arms and don't do anything. Because, you know, you realize that the government's a fraud and then they, whatever, okay, so, but nothing gets done, ever. Because everybody knows that our people's head leader whatevers all end up being sacrificial lambs to these people, martyrs. I'm gonna go out there, do some madness to prove something about Moors to some dumbasses who aren't gonna appreciate the sacrifice? Yeah, right. And that's the same people of all the, whatever, with these people posing like they're gonna do something. They're not doing anything. They're just posing. How about go goddamn put some dirt in something and grow something? How about do that? If you want to do something against the establishment, how about grow your own food so you don't have to go to their store? Well, I can't do that. Okay, well, how about supporting the guy who's growing the food so you can get your cut when it's reaping time? The only Moors we talk to all over the world, every single Moor we talk to all over the world, whether they're on this side, on that side, all the Moors that we talk to are seeing what's going on and saying, Noble Drew Ali was right. You're not going out there putting up 500 videos about some virus and breaking down some molecular structure of then the melanin can't attach to that and all that BS. Why? Because we've seen this stuff coming. We've seen all this coming. Because we had the stuff. We had the stuff. I mean, 90s we had Behold a Pale Horse. When Europeans were getting kidnapped, assassinated, all that for having the book. This is probably like 96 or something. In the realm of just wanting to know more information. You know what I mean? Because realize that, hold on a second, people are lying. right? So just want information. And European put me on this book. European put me on this book on a level where had to go to the house, to go to the basement, to close the door, to go in the back into whatever, to just show. Can't even leave with it. If you want to read it, you have to come here to read it. Why? It's a book. No, it's not just a book. Right? Been told. You get this book now, and you're going through this book, and he's not discriminatory. This is supposed to be white man or whatever. How come this white man is giving up the goods more than the black guy is giving up the goods? How come the black guy is not telling me about protocols of Zion and all that? They're telling me about black foolishness that is doing nothing. I mean, this book is up there. One of the most specific, to the point books about what you're seeing going around you right now. But this was written back then. Okay, this is one of those books. Is that 1984? This is like a 1984. Because the reason why they can get away with doing whatever they're doing is because you've been told. You've been told before William Cooper. But you don't want to hear anything. You think that it's just a game. And then you open the door, tank roll by, and then you just think that this is just a game. You ever seen a tank ever in your life? A tank on the block, you're not at least thinking something. You're talking about, oh yeah, make the best of it. Let's just, get the most popular names of whatever and put them on some TikTok, whatever. And we'll just watch that and we'll pretend like, yeah, even though we're home in the house having a party and nobody's around me or whatever, but I'm partying by myself with people who are online, you really don't register what's going on and what they did? All right. You'll realize. Somebody said, I can't remember who, but we'll see when your boy says, in order for us to have the NHL season as the Players Association of the whatever, president, whatever, we're all going to take the vaccine, you know what I mean, so that we can have the sports for you guys because we know the fans and all that stuff. And then you get riled up and then you get in it like, oh yeah, all right, sports is coming back or whatever. And then they tell you, oh, you have to, you want to watch? You want to come in the stadium to watch? Oh no, you got to have your vaccine or whatever. Or if you don't have the vaccine, then you got to have your little chip in the hand or whatever so we could scan you, because we don't take paper money anymore or tickets or anything. Everything is downloaded to you. Because, you thought Independence Day and whatever were movie. You thought Enemy of the State was movie. You thought Star Trek and Star Wars, that was just some TV show stuff. But now you have the same phone that they had on Star Trek in your hand, but you don't get that somebody created a whole narrative around you. Like we're saying, this is not some martyr right now, but this is birthrights. Because if it's go to work or get a chip, then my work is going to not be included with the chip people. Work's going to have to change. Automatic, off the top. No, think about it. Well, you know, the bills and the, no. Just think about, you know, if you really love that, whatever it is, that's outside of yourself. If they said to get that, you need to be either vaccinated with a certificate showing you got the vaccine, or you have the chip stuff, push your hand in the thing, we scan you, and everything's good. Because you've been told. And you've been playing around. Jig is up. Everybody see all these stuff going on right now. Like, it's up. So where's your position? Listen, everything that they talk about, something happens to DNA or whatever like that, that's for Europeans. I don't know what people are talking about. Like, I don't know. Based on my studies, like, I'm a student of, you know what I mean, Richard King, Delbert Blair, C. Freemanel. So we're taught that, you know, we're indestructible because we're spirit, not the flesh. If they say all of a sudden a guy coughing has corona, guarantee that guy doesn't have anything. Guarantee they're just playing their little game. No, there's no victory or death if death is victory. Because they make it or death as if death is some type of bad thing. If death is a bad thing to you, then you're already 500 years off the path. Might as well change your trajectory because you're off. Yeah, but how? How are they able to classify everything that they want as corona? Because they don't say corona anymore. They say COVID, and everybody fell for it. You realize they don't say corona anymore. They say COVID. Like, just like I was saying, create a jurisdiction around you. You don't even know what the hell's going on. Because your black leaders have taught you not to study. So you missed the boat. That's how they've been doing it. The game doesn't change, it evolves. The game doesn't change, it evolves. Their game has evolved. But they're doing the same stuff. Spelling. Putting spells out there and having people fall for them. So if we are eternal, energetic beings, then that has nothing to do with the physical. So why are we playing around with the physical and all that stuff? If we're eternal energetic beings, then
we know that as man, we're spirit, not flesh. Legislation is flesh. I don't care what legislation they pass. I'm not taking no vaccine or any chip. I don't care what they do. I know I'm not taking it. I can't talk for other people because I don't know what they're going to do in their situation. But ever since they started saying vaccinate people and all that stuff, I've been saying I'm getting nothing. Talked to doctor. Doctor said, I mean, I wouldn't get it either. So I already know where I'm at as far as vaccine. I don't care. Nobody Ali could come right now and say vaccine. I ain't taking it. Because why do I need to get vaccinated if I don't have anything? I don't have anything. So why do I need that for? For what? Oh, 5G? What's that? We've been had crystals. It ain't nothing new. Been drinking sea moss and all that. We're getting our nutrients. I don't know about anybody else. I can't talk for anybody else who's not on game. Because they just realized because of Corona, they just realized that they're conscious now and they just woke up yesterday. That, all right, if you just woke up, you better start figuring some stuff out. Just start figuring some stuff out. It's like they say, we have this legislation of whatever. Right? That only applies to the people who are in their jurisdiction. Now, you might see everything going around and see stuff shut down and and you're thinking that, oh my gosh, they did whatever. But that's jurisdiction. On top of that, it's jurisdiction based on perception, which is not even a reality. Like I was talking with one of the Moors today. Ever since everything, whatever, when's the last time you seen a highwayman in a car out here? I don't know what happened to them, but we see them less now than we saw them before. Moors are riding easy right now out here because there's no, pressure like that. Because the more people, they need one of them out there. The less people now, they're not trying to get nothing. They don't want no COVID either. It's all about inward. That's the whole point of all this. It's all about inward. All it's about inward. This is where it's at. If you got any questions out there, make sure you send them out or hit the invite, whatever, and ask your question. So this is one of my books right here, Nationality Order of the Day. So it's the first book because it came out of all the different schools of thought, came into nationality and said, I got to do something for my people. Let them know what this nationality and birthrights are about, especially if they're Garveyites, Rastafarians, Black nationalists, and Pan-Africans, especially them. That came out of that school of thought. So, we had Haile Selassie and Empress Menen on the cover. That was the standard when, after I got through all the schools of thought, After we got through the schools of thought, the emperor and empress of Ethiopia was what the standard was to me. That's where it's at. Right? So they were put as the head of the Trinity. Right? And then we had the UNIA with Marcus Garvey, and putting that with Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple to show just the picture unity. The man at the front, so nobody can't say they don't know or whatever. Right? Wearing the white, so you know. Then you know. And that Noble Drew Ali told the Moors that Marcus Garvey was the forerunner of the Moorish movement. So, to complete the Trinity, the completion of the Trinity. This was 2008. So again, introducing the Moorish perspective, Moorish American prayer. And when you see Allah, goddess of the universe, and through her holy prophet, instead of his holy prophet, Moorish Science Temple of America, people went nuts. They went nuts. We're changing the prayer and all this. Like, no, we're metaphysicians. We're not religious guys. We're metaphysicians. So everything we deal with is from a metaphysical perspective. So Allah is mother, if that's the creator. Because the only thing that could create is mom. So Allah's mother, period. Mother of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, because Allah's mother. There ain't no father that's the supreme being. Because only one that creates is mother. And they were mad. But they got over it, And we made our point. That if we're going to say that we are Moors, and this is divine and national, then let's start being divine. Stop playing around. But they were mad. So we started off with, words to know. Just words, just some definitions of words that you might not have heard before. But, just so. Because remember, this is an intro book. The whole perspective was, I found out about this information, about that we're Moors, and let me write a book for our people who don't know about Moors and all that stuff and might have heard some things, but as well take some of their teachings and show how it has Moorish affiliation. Right? So we just, A to Z, and we just picked some books and picked some words and said, put these in. Right? Anytime we study, we must remember to always have an unabridged dictionary, a before fifth edition law dictionary, and a good thesaurus. Application of higher knowledge is the key to open the mental slave lock. Right? No, we don't know that Marcus Garvey was nationalized, but we know that Marcus Garvey was exercising as a national. We know that Marcus Garvey wasn't saying Bay, El, Ali, and none of that. Right? He was a Negro. But this Negro was exercising as a national. right? In these modern days, there came a forerunner who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey. And Marcus Garvey brought us this idea of nationhood, right? So it just goes into, a little write-up on Garvey, quotes of him. And then we introduce things like this, Deuce Muhammad Ali, that many people, conscious community, don't even know about him when he's big time. Not only because of what he did, but because he was a recognized Moor. You look up Deuce Muhammad Ali, only picture you're going to find of him is fezzes up. Fezzes up. Sudanese Moor. Right? He's a Moor, but he's not even from over here. But he's a Moor. Known as a Moor, recognized as a Moor. Everybody knows that he was a Moor. He had a publication called African Times and Orient Review that Marcus Garvey was one of the writers for that paper, right? One of the writers for that paper. Ali and the Messenger. Every major influential Asiatic that Deuce Ali came in contact with started a newspaper, which was his passion. He strongly trusted in the circulation of our newspapers to educate and inform our masses. As displayed, the UNIA had the Negro World, MST of A had the Moorish Guide. All these newspapers were used to build financial foundation and to also market themselves to the public. Moorish Guide was distributed in more than 15 states from 1926 to 1928. UNI influential members. So we got the Rabbi, Arnold Ford, who was also a teacher of Noble Drew Ali. The Rabbi was in America and a prominent member of Harlem's Black Jews. As composer of many UNIA songs, Ford co-authored the Universal Ethiopian Anthem with Benjamin E. Burrell. Ford officially functioned as director of the UNIA Band, Orchestra Band of the African Legion, and the Liberty Hall Choir. Ford was a luminary in the UNIA. Ford offered Hebrew lessons and religious instruction to a number of lay people and clergy in the Harlem area. Ford worked both with Matthew's Commandment Keepers Congregation and the Moorish Zionist congregation led by Mordecai Herman in the 1920s. Now this is Garvey. Now if all these Moors are around Garvey, what's that tell you? If all these Moors are around Garvey, even though he was calling himself and his organization Negro, he brought the idea of nationalism to our people on a grand scale. Marcus Garvey was strong on his views regarding self-sufficiency and race pride. He taught that we are today what our foremothers and forefathers were yesterday, and the fact that the incalculate history laid out behind us is ours to carry on to the end of times. Marcus Garvey knew that through propaganda by Europeans, many that belong to the nation that civilized will leave civilization to join the race of the barbarians. Influenced by Marcus Garvey, Booker T. Washington, right? Hip hop people. Messiah Garvey was a clairvoyant, a magi that channeled, and he was one who might or might not have realized his full prophecy. Garvey states in Philosophies and Opinions that the God we as melanin beings worship and adore is a God of peace, Islam, and war. He goes on to say that the greatest battle was not between man, but Almighty God, higher self, and Lucifer, lower self. This is the Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, as within, so without, of the universal laws of correspondence. He had enough of an overstanding to know that when evil comes with his army, so will all righteous come with an army to overthrow those trying to go against natural law. And then we jumped in for the Rastafarians, because we came out of that school, and we had a section on the Emperor and the Empress. Haile Selassie on time. Now, some of the things that were important were because a lot of the information in the section on Haile Selassie and Empress Menen came out of a lecture that I did called Ras Metaphysics. That's on YouTube, on the Canaanland Moorish channel. And Ras Metaphysics was just looking at the whole Rastafarian paradigm from a metaphysical mindset opposed to the physical. Right? Opening their minds to some information relative to why they should hold Haile Selassie and Empress Menen so high. You know, not because of some black sovereign whatever, but because of the spirituality happening. Right? The young Dejazmec found himself sent to further his education and enrolled in the new Menelik school, which was founded in the city and put in charge of by an Egyptian named Hannah Bey Celeb. So we know, as the Dejazmec, Rastafari was learned in the way of Moorish Egyptian mystery sciences. The Lion of Judah metaphysically represents the courage to enter fearlessly into the oncoming life and understanding of all things. To understand is to go under the foundation to get a look at what's going on. Judah also represents the spiritual faculty that corresponds to the accumulation or increase in mental. Negus Negas relates to the serpent kings. These are the same 7 serpents around Buddha, 7 cobras of goddess Lakshmi, and dragons in front of Shaolin temples, the snakes of St. Patrick chased out of Ireland, and the Garden of Eden serpent. Nagas were Africans enlightened by the serpentine fire or Kundalini energy. This is the same serpent pharaohs had on their crown. Right, so bringing in the metaphysical so that the perspective could be broader when looking at that paradigm. Thousands of years ago, civilizations flourished in Africa, which suffer not at all by comparison to those of other continents. In those centuries, Africans were politically free and economically independent. Their so-called patterns were their own and their cultures truly indigenous. He knew. And then we close it out with Noble Drew Ali. Perspectives on the Circle 7, the idea that it came out of the Aquarian Gospel, and then some oral statements. Number 177. I will not teach you here, I will teach you on the soul plane. Noble Drew Ali knows that in the mind is where the pineal gland rests. The pineal gland is the soul of an individual with melanin and some non-melanites. The prophet comes to us in dreams, and it is taught that if the prophet does come to you in a dream, say nothing to him unless spoken to. This is where the real teachings are, in the realm of the soul. Chapter 12, Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple. Behold, a master, Adab chamber, comes and tells them of hidden wealth, Kundalini energy. The underneath the rocky coil of carnal things, base chakra, are treasures that no man can count, spiritual enlightenment upon raising the Kundalini. That in the heart the richest gems abound, and he who wills may open the door and find them all. Some references to things that have mores in them, things that our people could relate to, like the Pope's coat of arms, like the three wise men. Philip Aiken, 2007, first time in quote-unquote Canadian history where a brother played Othello, the Moor. And you could look that up. There's articles about that. That was news. That they finally have an Asiatic playing Othello. Of course, we had to slip in our friends at the NOI on there, because we know they know what's up, even though they pretend like they don't know. And then we put in some claims to the NOI and Moorish Science Temple connection. Truth is, there would be no NOI if there wasn't our illustrious and divine prophet Noble Drew Ali. And this was the bibliography. It's everywhere. It was everywhere that was studied to put this book together. Just make sure you screenshot that. And then everywhere that it says DVD, it's probably a YouTube video now. Nationality Order of the Day, khalifamedia.com. Let's go there. Let's see what else, what other ones I have here. See if we can do another one of these later. I saw one question, but the Constitution that we enforce, Canada is part of North America, so the only Constitution is the Constitution for the United States of America Republic. Only Constitution. Supreme law of the land and all treaties. Before the adoption of the Constitution, not just any treaties. Only treaties before the adoption of the Constitution will give some consideration. And remember that enforcing the Constitution is not because that's your laws. That's because that's the laws that govern them being here. And the laws that govern them came from our foremothers and forefathers who contracted with them and gave them permission to be over here. So there's rules and regulations that go with them being here. But because they have us thinking that the rules and regulations are what they create because they call themselves government, then Constitution gets put down to the side. And then everybody piles up all this other stuff in front of the Constitution and then tries to convince you that that stuff that they piled up in front of the Constitution, that's blocking you from the Constitution, that's the law. And nothing else is the law. All that other stuff, oh, that's old stuff, don't worry about that. But they're going to take an oath to the Constitution, though. And all these soldiers that you got all over the place right now, they got tanks on you know what I mean, 7th and 8th or whatever. All them got oaths to the Constitution. And if they're going to say emergency war powers and national emergency and all that stuff, they're claiming that the Constitution's suspended. If the Constitution's suspended, then that means all the people who have an oath to it, they're suspended. Which is why they're suspended. And everything's in our face, been in our face, but we don't see shit. You know, we like to hear from a guy who saw a guy, who knows a guy, who told a guy, who let a guy know, whatever. And then we go with that. We don't fact check. So because we've been fact checking, we know what's up. Islam to all the Moors. We'll be back again sometime. Let's see if I hunt down another book. We'll go in on another one. Peace and love to all the Moors everywhere you're at. If you got questions, just hit up the DM. All the Moors out there, be safe. You know what I mean? Keep your fezzes on. You know, keep your light on. And everything will be straight, regardless of what goes down. Doesn't matter. If executioners at the door, we're murdering Moors and we're putting Moorish name on your tombstone, let's go. One sits as a Moor. Show love, not anger. Speak truth, be peaceful, and enjoy your freedom while you still got it. Justice will take its course. Islam to all. Peace, Moors.